All right, welcome back to another episode of the All American News Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Driscoll. Today is December 18th, 2025. Um, I'm still off track. I usually start up with the episode number. I don't know what number it is now. I feel like it's probably like 105 or something like that, maybe 106. Um, but yeah, obviously no jersey number at this point, but birthdays. I've been like obviously writing solo, so I've been coming up. I was doing the agenda on my own, just writing down what to say. But of course, we got the intro. So while I'm multitasking at some point during the show, I'll give shout outs, I'll give birthday shout outs to who they are. But regardless, welcome to the show. I'm very happy to whoever's watching. We got 11 people watching right now. That's much higher than usual, so we're very thrilled about that. But yeah, so yeah, this is going to be obviously when it's usually just me. It's usually a relatively shorter show, so it'll be um it'll be a couple of talks. Like we'll be talking about the NBA Cup that just wrapped up on Tuesday night. We'll be talking about the NBA All-Star game, which the voting for that just started yesterday. I'll be giving my picks for that. I gave my picks for the entire roster about a month ago, maybe a little less than that, probably like 3 or 4 weeks ago at this point. And then also at the end, I'll just be talking about NBA big picture with the standings and everything going on there, because it's still good amount going on. So obviously some things I'm not so surprised about, but all in all, it has been a pretty surprising season. So I'm very interested to see what goes on there. Before I move on, I did want to bring up the birthdays right now, actually. So NBA players whose birthdays today. According to Basketball Reference, today, December 18th, it is Jalen Johnson's birthday. The Hawks are currently playing the Hornets. I believe the Hornets are beating them by about 10. Also Noah Esunje's birthday. I think he's a rookie. EJ Lindell. And those are the current players. But as far as it goes for all time, Bobby Jones, Charles Oakley, Gene Shue. Gene Shue is one of the more underrated point guards of all time. I shouldn't say one of the more underrated, but I should say one of the more forgotten about, since he was so old. But obviously Charles Oakley is really well known as to be great defender, just one of the tough guys in the 90s that people always talk about, but it's obviously not really a Hall of Famer, but still an awesome player that people loved having on their teams for sure. MLB players' birthdays, let's check that too. It is today we celebrate Ty Cobb. Yeah, that's a pretty important birthday. Ty Cobb, Byron Buxton, Ronald Acuna Jr., Roy Howell, Johnny Barrett. No one I'm too familiar with after this is Chris Carter. This isn't Chris Carter as in Chris Carter from the Vikings or FS1. This is another Chris Carter. I could have sworn that this was going to be a Mets player. There was a Mets player named Chris Carter. It must be someone else though. But I think that's it for the ones that I know, at least. And then we'll do NFL real quick too. But yeah, shout out Ty Cobb and Byron Buxton and Ronald Acuna Jr. Those are the three big ones that most baseball fans know. And then happy birthday to Greg Landry, Marco Coleman, Jerry Robinson, and no one else that I am familiar with. I don't think, at least. I'm scrolling. I don't. Yeah, there's usually NFL is my third sport, but usually there's at least one guy that I'm at least familiar with. Maybe the names that I just read off are well-known players, and the NFL fans are probably going to be strangling me. Saying like, well, how the hell do you not know who Jerry Robinson is? Yeah, but yeah, I'm not sure. Ox Emerson is he's the best one. Apparently, it's 5 first team all pros, but yeah, that's that. But yeah, so happy birthday to all those athletes out there. Yeah, I think I'm looking that better than the numbers. It's much easier. But yeah, we're here. I'm here to talk about the NBA Cup. Back when I recorded episodes 1 and 2 of the All American News Podcast, the NBA Cup was my primary focus because it was just around what the NBA was talking about the most. Obviously, it was the first season of the NBA Cup. I was talking about LeBron and the Lakers, everything there. But now, here we are. We're in the third season now, and I still don't know how to form a perfect opinion on that team altogether. Not the team, on the tournament altogether. I would say, all in all, it's a success. The players seem to care about it. Obviously, it brings stakes into it increases stakes for sure. Obviously, 500,000 could only be so much when players are getting paid millions of dollars a year. Even like the low end role players are getting paid at least like 4 or 5 million. Players that are on like 2-way deals are usually getting paid like about that amount. So it matters to them. I don't even know the rules for that for them even. But that being said, um, we've seen some regular season atmosphere changed, and um, people can call cringeworthy all they want. They could say like, "Oh, it's just a regular season tournament. Who cares?" But really seems like the players care, and that's really cool. So yeah, like that's how I think about it. Big picture for sure. I know that there are small details that people can think about. Um, and obviously, I know I don't know if it was just James Dolan's decision, or if he got feedback from other management, or even like the head coach that decided to not hang up the banner. And again, I don't know what to think about that. I'm not going to shame him. Obviously, I'm a Celtics fan, so I don't like the Knicks. So anything they would have done, I probably would have questioned. Like if they hung up the banner, I would have made fun of them for saying like, oh look, this is the big accomplishment after beating the Celtics. They finally accomplished something more. Um, but other than that, but like I also know that the Lake, yeah, like I think the Lakers set the precedent when they said, okay, yeah, we'll hang up the banner because we've done a lot. And yeah, so like I think that's the deal there. But like the issue is with the Knicks is that um they've also have a ton of banners hung up. Like they have banners hung up for like their division titles. So um I don't really know what their mindset was. Maybe like I don't know if they're too good for the NBA Cup, or maybe they just don't want to be formed too big of a meme for hanging that up. But I'm really not sure what their thought process behind not hanging up a banner of the NBA Cup banner was. I'm not saying that they're better or worse. Again, I'm kind of mixed on the whole NBA Cup idea, but at the end of the day, I do know that it's not as important as an actual NBA championship. So, excuse me. But who knows? Maybe I definitely think the NBA Cup is still here to stay because I'm sure they're making more money off of it than if they hadn't had it. Um, so those are my thoughts. But yeah, I guess one of my biggest complaints is that even like I understand that you want to keep everything equitable for like games played and everything, but I do think you should include the championship game, which was technically game 83. I do think that that should be included in. Excuse me. That should be included in like a lot of the stats because obviously they happened, and I feel the same way for the play-in tournament games as well. Even though they're not traditional playoff games or traditional regular season games, they still matter. So, like, yeah, that's my opinion on it. I mean, maybe you could say like, oh, the NBA Cup doesn't matter; it's not really part of the regular season or part of anything. I think I think the players clearly care about it just as much as any other regular season game. They don't care about it as any other playoff game. So, including that in the stats just makes sense to me. But I don't know what other people think about that, but that's just my personal opinion on it. But I think that's all I had big picture wise. But I do want to talk about the actual games. If I'm being honest, I didn't. Yeah, like I wasn't able to watch any of these games live. I only saw like the handful of highlights for each one. But that being said, let's dive into it. So Saturday night, the Knicks played the Magic. Those were the two teams that met up in the Eastern Conference Finals for the NBA Cup. The Knicks are one of my least favorite teams in the league for obvious reasons. Obviously, they're rivals with the Celtics now. The Magic used to be one of my favorite teams, but I just feel like I don't really appreciate their style of play. They're a great defensive team, which usually I love, but like I don't know anything. Like they don't really have anything on offense that excites me. Like Paulo Banchero is obviously a really talented player, but I'm on record saying that I've sold my stock in both and mostly in the Magic. I haven't sold all my stock on Paulo, but I've sold a good amount of it just because I don't know if he's going to be as good as people first expected him to be. Because at the end of the day, you can have all the talent in the world, but however, he still hasn't improved his shot selection. The turnovers are still a big problem, and the biggest one of all. It's been 4 years now. Every single season, I know that this year's a small sample size because he was injured for a good amount of it. But so far, the Magic have looked better with him off the floor than with him on the floor. And I know the on-off metrics can be a little misleading based on matchups and everything like that. But when something's constant for 4 years straight, you have to think about it. Or my charter. But So yeah, like I was someone that said like Opalo should be like one of the one of like the main pe- pieces that people were thinking about when trading for Giannis. I don't know if the Magic would do that. I don't know if they wanted to give up on Paolo that quickly, especially for Giannis, who I think you should trade Giannis for anything, even with his injury concerns. But I understand why you'd want to be hesitant because he has been so injury prone the past few years, not just during the regular season, but like he's been injury prone at the end of the season, which is arguably a bigger problem than if someone was slightly more injury prone, but during the regular season, but they just happened to be healthier for the playoffs. So that's obviously what has been tanking Giannis's trade value. I don't really know. We haven't really talked about Giannis being traded lately because of his injuries. But yeah, who knows? I kind of just talked about big picture each team, but yeah, the Knicks won by 12. It kept it pretty close for most of the game, but however, Brunson really steps it up towards the end. How many points did he finish up with? He finished up with he dropped 40 points, with 8 assists, two only two 3-pointers made, a plus minus of 3, technically, so not as much, but however, OG plus minus 14, Cats 12, Mikal Bridges 9. Technically, a couple others were negatives, but Tyler Kolek plus 18 as well. So, yeah, the Knicks are just looking like a much better team than people expected. Obviously, some people were questioning how sustainable their success has been the past couple of years, but at the end of the day, and I'll talk about the more big picture in a second. But yeah, like this is just like a wrap. This is just like a representation of how they've been playing. And then we go to the other side of the brackets. The Thunder ended up beating this. Oh no, sorry, the reverse. The Spurs ended up beating the Thunder. It was Wemby's first game back. I don't think Wemby played. Did he play 20 minutes? I don't know if he played just under or just over 20 minutes. He played 21 minutes. So yeah, that was probably his minutes restriction, which is usually a thing. I'm not even trying to sound like an old head here when I say like I don't get the points of minutes restrictions. Like I understand the idea of like, oh, you don't want to wear them out so much, but it's been a long time, and I just feel like the strategy hasn't been that great because you like play them the 20 minutes and then you just sit them out um for like when the game gets heated up. I feel like you should settle them in and then really want them to play for the end of it, especially the guy like Wemby. But obviously it ended up working. The Thunder ended up winning. Wemby was a plus 21 in a game that they won by 2 points. So you can see the impact there, 22 points. I want to see what Chet Holmgren, what was he? He was still plus 18. So like obviously they must have staggered the minutes a little more. But that being said, Chet and Wemby they are like a traditional rivalry. They do not like each other at all. And again, I'm going to sound like an old head here. I think basketball is better when when there's personal beef between two players. Obviously, the NBA is buddy buddy, and I don't know. Like, I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing, but that's just the reality of the situation. Um, but yeah, Wemby and Chet do not like each other, and as long as the two of them stay healthy, I think the two of them will be two of the best players in the league for a long time. Two of the best bigs in two, not only two of them, but debatably the two best bigs in the league for a long time. So that would be a pretty cool thing to see. But then eventually, knowing the NBA, knowing eventually at the end of their career, they'll end up liking each other just like Magic and Bird did. Not so much MJ and Isaiah; they still hate each other, but that's the take there. Who else played good in this? I'm just box score watching here, but yeah, De'Aaron Fox 22 points, Stephon Castle 22 points, Devin Vassell 23 points. So Dylan Harper only 8 points though. So yeah, I need to start watching the Spurs more because I'm someone who was flaunting over the fact that the Spurs traded for De'Aaron Fox, and I thought that he and Wemby were match made in heaven, and I still think that can absolutely be the case, given Fox both of their defensive abilities, given Fox's athleticism, and just paired up with Wemby's freakish skills. I think that that's going to be really really awesome, and I just want to see more of them, more basketball of them playing together. Both of them have been injury prone for the past 365 days, but hopefully that changes now. Both of them are healthy now, so we'll see what happens. Are they playing now? Are they playing tonight? I don't know. Let's check. They are playing now. They're playing the Wizards. They're up by 7. Is Wemby playing tonight? He's on the bench. I guess that means he's I guess yeah. Like this is according to Google, so it looks like he hasn't played yet. I don't know if that means he's probably not going to play. But yeah, they're up by 5 now. De'Aaron Fox with no points. Jeez, Stephon Castle 7 points. So yeah, the Spurs can be a fun team. We'll go over them more when we get into the standings, but I think they're going to be a fun team for sure. And then they obviously ended up losing to the Knicks on Tuesday nights by 11 points. And of course, that was on the back of Jalen Brunson, who ended up scoring 25 points with 8 assists, and OG Anunoby actually had more points with 28 points. Mitchell Robinson with 15 boards. So obviously, the Knicks are they're just continuing the magic from last season and the season before that. So again, I'll dive into them more once we go into the standings portion of it, but it's pretty safe to say the Knicks are the overwhelming favorites to come out of the East. Like, obviously, the Cavs are a much worse team than I thought. The Pistons are very young, so even though they're the better regular season team, the Knicks have been better lately, and you obviously trust them more in a playoff setting. But yeah, I'll dive more into that later. But hats off to the Knicks; they've been awesome lately. As much as I hate saying it, but yeah, that's my take on the NBA Cup as of now. I do, however, want to now dive into the All-Star Game voting because that started yesterday. I'm assuming they probably started after the NBA Cup to focus on one thing at a time, which makes sense. But the NBA All-Star Game is different this year. Obviously, it's similar to last year, to where they're separating the teams. They're still going to 24 players, but each team is going to have 8, I believe. One for the world and then 2 for USA players. So I don't know exactly how they're going to split it up. I'm sure the answer's somewhere, but they really haven't made it clear at all. But regardless, you can vote for whoever you want. It looks like, and I checked right before the show. You can vote for whoever you want without position discrimination. So people can just vote for their 5 favorite players on both ends of the aisle. So that's what fan voting is. I don't have a problem with it. But I'm going to tell you how, if I were a voter, which I am a voter for the fans actually, but I'll tell you, like, if I was like a legit voter and like my vote actually mattered, I would say, okay, here's my criteria. My criteria I mentioned on the show before. If I'm voting for starters, I still think I still like to factor in positions because I know it's the All-Star Game and it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But I think if you're building 2 All-Star teams, you should have some type of position variance in there. I'm not saying you need a point guard, a shooting guard, a small forward, a power forward, and a center, and it needs to be that. I'm not even saying you need to have 2, like it was before, two guards, 2 front courts, and a center. What I am saying, however, is let's keep some consistency. So I'd like, I like teams to have 2 guards. I like teams to have 2 front courts, and then I like the team to have 1 wild card for each conference. I'll say it again. Each conference has 2 guards. Each conference starting lineup is going to be 2 guards, 2 front courts, and 1 wild card. So anyone. People say, "Oh, it doesn't really matter," but it does. You can't just field a bunch of players with 5 guards on each, like 5 guards on one end and then 5 centers on the other end. That just doesn't. It's not basketball to me. So, and again, I know it's the All-Star Game, so they want to say, "Look, it doesn't matter. Just pick the best players," and I get it, but I'm a traditional guy. I like to have some type of position variance. And again, I'm not just saying, no, we need point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center on both ends. I'm not even saying you need 2 guards, 2 front courts, and a center. I'm saying 2 guards, 2 front court, and a wild card. So players are eligible for 60% of the positions in the starting lineup. Every player is eligible for 60% because you're either a front court or you're a guard, and you can vote on it, and you can be eligible for one of the 2 one of the 2 of your position, and then the wild card. So you're eligible for 60%. So that's the way that I look at it, and that's the way that I would vote on it if I was a legit voter. So I'm gonna walk through exactly how I went about it. I do as obviously I'm someone that values advanced stats, so I'm not going to go through all the stats that I go through, but I do look at them. I also look at the regular stats, so points per game is what I really focus on, especially because it's the All-Star Game. And I also look at team success as well. So like those are like the 3 main things I look at. I test to a certain extent, but not really, because if I watch a player more, that means I'm going to be a little more biased to the player that I watch more, especially if I like the way they play. So to be fair, I do a little bit of box score watching, but I also know that people might scoff at that because they say like, "Oh, that doesn't tell the entire story." I know it doesn't tell the entire story, but if you looked at everything that told the entire story, you wouldn't be able to. I don't know how much time you have to be able to look at every single thing, and and have having a solid opinion on every single player, or at least every single candidate for like to be like all stars. So I focus on eye test just a little bit, but not a ton. It's mostly just the stats and team success. So yeah, that's really what. And also, not even just team success, but just impact on winning. So like, obviously, if your team's winning, but you're not really putting up any points or having much impact on your team, I'm not really going to be that interested. If you're putting up a lot of stats and your team's winning, then yeah, I'm going to assume that you're impacting your team. So that's the way that I'm looking at it. So all in all, I'm going to start off with the Western Conference because I'm just going left to right geographically. So the two guards, don't think it could be don't think it could be more obvious. The first one obviously being the reigning MVP, the reigning Finals MVP, and the scoring champion, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Anyone surprised? I don't think I need that much of an explanation. He's playing like one of the best scoring guards of all time. Some people are saying it's the best scoring season since Jordan. Some saying he's even better than prime Steph. I don't know if I agree with that, but it's one of the better than Steph. Okay, not better than Steph, not better than like you saw. I was born in '99, so I didn't see prime MJ play. As far as it goes for players on my lifetime, I'm not sure if I put him on the same level as prime Steph. But guess what? I'm putting him on the same level as prime Kobe and prime D Wade. I can tell you that. So he's right there with those guys. Definitely a top 5 guard of my lifetime for sure. So Shai is 100% without a doubt one of those guys. The next guy I have up is a guy who I'm not a fan of at all, who's someone that I have debated against in comment sections about, someone who I've downplayed his impact on, but at the end of the day, he's still phenomenal. Might be a hater of him mainly just because of certain things about him, but it's Luka Doncic. Say everything you want about him. He's a walking 30 points efficient triple double machine. And the Lakers offense, let's be honest, isn't really that good. They're not like a good team. They're not really a good team offense. Like Austin Reeves is great. So it's really just those two guys. LeBron really isn't as good as he used to be. He's also very injured. DeAndre Ayton stinks. I don't really like him at all. Riyad Jamar is fine. And then just a bunch of one role guys. So I'm just someone who is I'm not as high in Luka for sure, but that being said, it gets pretty hard to be a quote unquote hater of Luka when he does stuff like this. Like, let me check the numbers real quick. Like, this is just like let's see. So this season he's averaging 35, 8, and 8. So just all that is insane. He missed a couple games at the beginning of the year and like missed like 1 or 2 later. So you know, dock him a couple points for that, but I don't think it nearly justifies taking him off this ballot. I'm not going to go over the honorable mentions yet because I'm going to add those on to the wild card because if you're not one of the best 2 guards for the guards, you could still make it for the wild card. So I'll touch on that later. But obviously the next one up as we go to the front court, it's obviously Nikola Jokic. Again, any questions? This is someone who is, again, one of the best players of my lifetime. LeBron, Steph. I think that's it. I think Jokic is the 3rd best player of our lifetime. I think he's better than Shai. I think he's better than Kobe. I think any season is probably better than Kobe. So it's tough. He's better than Giannis. Like, just again, like a walking 30 points, triple double, walking impact machine. The Nuggets wouldn't be like a 2 or 3 seed without him. Like, they not even close. So are they the 2 seed? Yeah, I think they're like chess. They're like chess, like tied with the Lakers maybe. But yeah, they're currently 19-6. The Lakers are 18-7. So yeah, they're a game ahead of the Lakers for the 2 seed. They beat the Thunder. No, not the Thunder. They beat the Rockets on Monday night, I want to say. So great stuff from Jokic this year as always. Jokic and Shai are the 2 MVP front runners as always. So not as always, past 3 years, I guess, actually. But just very, very easily makes this part. This last one is where it got tough because there's a few guys you can go with here, and I'll mention the honorable mentions along with them too because there's a couple guys you could have gone with. You could have gone with Jimmy Butler. You could have gone with Denny Avdija. You could have gone with Julius Randle. You could have gone with Wemby. Probably not Wemby because he hasn't played really many games. But all in all, I decided to go with Alperen Sengun. The advanced stats love him a lot, and his team is winning. I'm someone who has been a little bit lower on Sengun the past couple of years. I feel like that he was just put on a good team. and he wasn't really the star of the team. He was the best player on the team, but I never feel like I never felt like he was the only leading the team. I feel like it was more so their defense, and he was someone that was just fine at defense. But no, he's looking great this year. Even with Kevin Durant, which I'm sure Durant's overall gravity is what keeps him is what has opened the floor up to Şengün for sure. But that being said, I think that Şengün has been the second best front court in the league, and his team's winning. I think that they're the 4th seed. I want to say they're the 5 seed. Are they tied for the? No, they're they're behind the Lakers and the Spurs by 1 game for the 3 and the 4 seeds. So yeah, like they've slipped off a little bit for sure, but I think they can beat any. I think not only do I think they can, like they've shown they can beat any. They can mess with anyone in the league, not named the Thunder. Actually, they did mess with them on opening night, so I don't even know. I don't even know about that, but yeah, Şengün's been awesome. Reed Shepard's been awesome, but yeah, so Şengün would be my pick for the second front court. So the two guards are Shea and Luka, and the 2 front courts are Jokic and Şengün. The last guy is someone who you can go with. You can go with any position here. I went back and forth, and I'm still kind of going back and forth. There's a couple options you can go with here. And I think at the end of the day, even though they were only the 8 seed now, I think I'm going to go with Steph Curry. And he's someone that started off a little bit slow. I shouldn't say started off slow. But like maybe like after like the first couple games, like not as great. But what is he? He's averaging like over 29 points a game. He's again, impact is there more than ever, and this is just like a matter of like if you're building a team to win a championship, Steph Curry is always going to be in the top of the list, and I don't think anything's changed that. So I think Anthony Edwards would likely be my next guy up, especially because the Wolves are higher in the standings, if I'm not mistaken. You could also go with Jamal Murray. You can go with Austin Reeves. You could go with James Harden. But I think that Steph Curry has just been slightly better than those guys, especially as of late. Again, the Warriors have not been that good, but Steph Curry has been, in my opinion, the top 5 player in the West. So my starting 5 for the West would be the 2 guards would be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Luka Doncic. My 2 front courts would be Alperen Şengün and Nikola Jokic, and the wild card would be Steph Curry. Call me crazy, but I'm interested to hear what you guys think. But then for the East is where it gets interesting because there are more than a couple of great options for the. It's funny. Usually, it's the West that you have like a higher debate on for like higher talent, but the East is actually where there are 4 guys you could really pick for the 2 guards. There's a good chance that like these 4, like those 4 guards are going to be starting, like all because of the positionless aspect of it. But I'll tell you my picks. I decided with my first one to go with Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey has been playing phenomenal this year. The Sixers, again, are not that great of a team. Joel Embiid is not even close to the same player who he was. VJ Edgecombe, awesome start to the season. Has been playing better lately, but just not great. Same thing with Paul George. Again, just started off very slow. And the Sixers they started off hot. Now they're 5-5 of the last 10, so they slipped off. Started off 5, slipped off. Now they're just kind of like playing in like the average range, which is what I think they'll be the rest of the year. But it's not because of Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey is playing like top 3, maybe even top 2 player in the East. So yeah, he gets the All-Star nod, in my opinion. And the second guy up is Donovan Mitchell. I'm someone who is a huge fan of Donovan Mitchell. I think he's my favorite player in the league that's not a Celtic. And I know that I'm biased, but he has been without a doubt a top 2 guard in the East, in my opinion, this year. The Cavs have stunk this year. They have stunk. I think they're 3-7 in the last 10. I think they already have like 11 or 12 losses, maybe even more, maybe even like 12, 13. And it's just quite unfortunate to see because I was really hoping that in a weak East this year that this would be the year that Donovan Mitchell would finally lead his team to win the conference. But Evan Mobley's lack of development, Darius Garland's just injuries, Jared Allen's injuries. Because when the 4 of them are on together, they still look great. But Mitchell's has every time I check in with them, Mitchell's having a 30-point game and they're still losing. So it's really not his fault. I think that I understand why people might want to put the other 2 guards ahead of them because they're higher in the standings. But I've been more impressed with Maxey and Mitchell's work than the other two, and I'll bring up those two. You guys know what I'm talking about once we go to the front court or once we go to the wild card. So, the front courts. This is the big question here. Giannis has played in how many games? Let's see. Giannis has played in 17 games, and one of those games was for 3 minutes. Is that enough? Is that enough for him to get a start in the All-Star game? It depends on when he comes back, in my opinion. But if voting ended today, they just said, like, okay, voting's open for a day. We're going to close it now. Chris, who do you got? I'm thinking about it. Has Giannis played enough? And in those games, has he played good enough to justify me placing him above the guys who have played enough games? If you asked me before I started recording, I would have said yes. But I'm thinking about it now. I'm going to say no. Because it's not like I understand the East has been weak, but the two guys I'm going to mention have been playing awesome basketball this year and have been playing winning basketball this year for teams that we're not supposed to win this year. And I'll tell you them now. The first one up is my guy, Jaylen Brown. Giannis has played on a per-game basis much better than Jaylen Brown. And everyone expects him to. Giannis is, when healthy, a top 2, top 3 player in the league. Maybe some Bucks fan would even say he's the best. So if you want to say, okay, he's played in more than 15 games, if that's your cutoff, that's fine. I don't know if that's my cut. It might be my cutoff for the roster spots. It's not my cutoff for starting spots. Especially when a guy like Jaylen Brown isn't playing his best basketball of yet. The Celtics' expectations were down the floor without Jason Tatum, but Jaylen Brown said, "Nuh-uh. We're gonna play. We're gonna go out. We're gonna win every game that we can, and we're gonna work our tails off when we do." Jaylen Brown, in my opinion, has 100% earned an All-Star spots, and I think he should be the first guy that I would check off if it was still like the front court. I'm still envisioning that it is, and since I am envisioning like the way that it is, I'm putting Jaylen Brown as an All-Star starter. Next guy up. Another team that was not supposed to win a lot of games this year. A team that was like, when I saw them, I'm like, I hate this team. This team is just so weirdly constructed. But Scotty Barnes has been awesome this year. The Raptors are currently the 3 seed, if I'm not mistaken. And Scotty Barnes is currently averaging 19 points, 37% from 3, 50% from the field, 8 rebounds and 5 assists, and has just been playing very good basketball. So I'm thinking about it. Maybe he hasn't been playing as good enough to justify me putting him over Giannis, but I just think that 16 games plus 2 minutes, 3 minutes, that doesn't cut it for me to be a starter. So Jaylen Brown 100% unequivocally has to be an All-Star starter for me. I think Scotty Barnes is it's by a hair, but yeah, I'm starting Scotty Barnes over Giannis. Now. If Giannis comes back, I don't know, is it or like next week at this point, or is it no? What was it, 2 to 4 weeks, or was it 4 to 6 weeks that they were sidelining him for? I don't even remember, but yeah, I'd much rather be starting Scotty Barnes than Giannis for sure though. Because solely because the games played. So Scotty has played in how many games has he played in? Yeah, 27 games, over 10 more games played. I know that games played might not matter to some people, but it does for me in a situation like this. So Jaylen Brown and Scotty Barnes. Now the last All-Star spot. Now some people might say like when you think about it, so it's between two guys. You guys already know from the beginning. Between Jalen Brunson and Cade Cunningham, the two best players on the two best teams in the East. They should get both of them should be starting, right? I don't know if it exactly works like that. For all NBA voting, I might say yes, but for All Star voting, I'm going mostly based off individual, unless it's like that big of a gap. Like how many games are the Knicks above the Cavs? I think they're Knicks are currently 4.5 games ahead of the Cavs, which is pretty big, but it's not like it's like the Knicks are the 1 seed and the Cavs are the 13 seed. This is like the Knicks are the 2 seed and the Cavs are the 9 seed, right? Did I say the 9 seed or the 9 seed? So Yeah, that's a pretty big gap, but the Cavs are still like competing, and it's like they just haven't been closing games. So that's why I'm still going to go Donovan Mitchell over Jalen Brunson. But I'm going to give Jalen Brunson the nod over Cade Cunningham though. That is because even though the Knicks have had a great supporting cast this year with everything going on, I still think that Brunson has carried the Pistons a little more than Cade has. I'm sorry, I think the Brunson's carried the Knicks more than Cade has carried the Pistons. Jalen Duren has been awesome this year. He's been anchoring the Pistons defense, and Cade's been awesome this year. He's been carrying the offense, but I think the Brunson's been carrying the offense a lot more, and the numbers just look a lot better to me, in my opinion. So Brunson would get that last starting spot if they were up to me. So you hate to see it. That you hate to see like, okay, the Pistons have 5 losses this year. They're not going to get a starter. If this is only until today. So voting doesn't close for like another couple weeks. I don't even know when it closes. Let me check that right now. But this is only for today. When does NBA voting end? It ends on January 14th. So yeah, about a month from now. So plenty of basketball voting left. So again, I have no problem if you want to say, wait a second, Maxey, Mitchell, Brunson, and Cade have all been much better than Scotty Barnes this year. Why don't all of them get the nod? If you want to do that, be my guest. And I'm not judging you at all. I'm not even trying to be condescending when I say like, oh yeah, if you want to do that, go ahead. I'm actually saying no. If you want that to be your criteria, be my guest. I like to have positions incorporated some way somehow. I know technically I didn't draft a center. I technically didn't vote for center, but I did vote for 2 front courts, and I think that Jaylen Brown and Scotty Barnes had played good enough and enough games to justify me starting on them for the All-Star game. So in short, my All-Star starters as of December 12th. Let me start over. In short, as of December 12th. One more time. In short, as of December 18th, 2025, my Western Conference starters would be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, Alperen Şengün, and Steph Curry. My Eastern Conference starters would be Tyrese Maxey, Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown, Scotty Barnes, and Jalen Brunson. Let me know what you think. So that's my talk on the All-Star game for now. I'm going to talk about the NBA standings real quick. Figured I did want to talk about something current event-wise for the last portion of the show. But yeah, let's get into it. So yeah, we'll start. We did the West for the All-Star game to start, but now we'll start with the East. So the East, as I mentioned, the Knicks just won the NBA Cup, so obviously they're on top of the world. They've also won 9 of their last 10. So, and they won their last 5. I don't even know if that includes the NBA Cup. So, even though they're 2.5 games back with the Pistons, but I haven't even checked the odds. I can only imagine that the Knicks are the overwhelming favorites to come out of the East. Though their experience, they have the best player in my opinion in a series like that. The defense is what concerns me though. I think they're like I don't even know where they are in defense, but like they're like outside the top 10, and most NBA championship teams have a top 10 defense. So that does concern me just a little bit. But again, this is only for getting to the finals. I trust the Knicks more than any team in the East as of now. And you go through the standings. Yeah, again, the Pistons are the top seed, so maybe the one series of experience gave them that last year, especially because it went like 6 games. They could have won a couple of those games. The Raptors, the 3rd seed. Do they have any experience? Not really. Brandon Ingram doesn't have much playoff experience. Scotty, not much playoff experience. RJ Barrett, a little bit. Did they make the? Yeah, in 2021, kinda, not really. No one really comes to mind, if I'm being honest. But then let's dive deeper. The Celtics and the Magic are tied for the 4 and the 5 seed. All bets are off if Jason Tatum comes back and he's 85% of who he is. Because Jaylen Brown is playing the best basketball he's played in a long time. And maybe ever. I'm going to say ever, actually. Jason Tatum comes back. I have no reason to not believe that the Celtics can go at it with anyone in the East. I don't think they can beat anyone in the West by any stretch of the means, but they can. I think they might have to trade for a guy like Zubac or a guy like Jared Allen. I think Jared Allen might be a little tougher though. if they make those trades, because like I was watching the game the other night against the Pistons. They were getting killed on the boards because Neemias Queta, he's been playing much better in his role than I thought he would, but there's only so much he could do with like so little experience that he has and just so much. He's a very raw. But I'd much rather have him in like the third center role rather than the starting center role. So if they can improve the starting center role this year and then maybe get like another backup big in the offseason to where Kata could be like the third center. Actually, now that I think about it, like maybe if Kata just keeps on developing me, he can turn into like a good backup center, and I wouldn't be totally opposed to that. But Jordan Walsh has been phenomenal this year. Derek White has really been living up to average of the means. So average of the means, I don't even know if that's the right terminology, but at the end of the day, I do believe in the Celtics, and I think they could compete with anyone in the East if they're fully healthy. The Magic, I kind of already gave my opinion on. The Sixers are the sixth seed. I don't really believe in them. The Hawks, Trae Young is back tonight. Are they going to trade Trae Young? I don't know. I don't know if I would. Are they going to trade for Giannis? Maybe. Who knows? Heat of the 8th seed. I think they were the 3 seed at one point. Now they're 4-6 in their last 10, 14-12. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't think they should trade Bam because I think you should have a cornerstone foundation piece. Maybe they try to go after another star. Who knows? But yeah, I love Bam though. And then the Cavs are the 9th seed, 15-13. Yeah, so yeah, I was right. So 15-13. So the rule is for any team to win the championship, you have to win 40 games before losing 20. The Cavs have to go 25-6 if they want to be considered a title contender. That ain't happening. A lot would have to happen. All 4 of them would have to get healthy right away, and not much would have to go wrong. That's not happening. The Cavs were my pick to make the finals. Selling all my stock in them, unfortunately, when they're at their lowest. So I'm like, okay, that's unfortunate for this year, by the way. For the future, maybe they can be better. But however, I saw a report coming out that's saying that everyone except for Mitchell and Mobley are on the table. And I think that they should consider trading for Jared Allen and see what the market is, because I think that Jared Allen is one of the more underrated players in the league, and I think forcing Mobley into that center role would be very good for them. And I just really hope that the Cavs are able to somehow turn it around. But I don't think they're winning. Maybe they can make the finals, but they're not winning the finals this year. The Bulls 11-15, 2-8 in the last 10. The Bucks 11-16, 3-7. Who knows what's going to happen after you're trading Giannis? That's probably likely. Hornets, Nets, Pacers, Wizards. The Pacers are doing a much better job tanking than the Celtics. I can tell you that, but I don't know what their I don't know what their vision is. Like maybe they're probably thinking, no, we need that second superstar next to Halliburton because Siakam's great, but he's not Jaylen Brown. So I think that's probably part of their thought process. So yeah, if you'd asked me today, I'd say my pick to win the East would probably be the Knicks, but I wouldn't count out the Cavs altogether because they're only a game behind the 4 seed, a game and a half behind the 3 seed. So I have no let's be honest. Like I have no reason to believe they will turn it around, except the fact that I think they're more talented than anyone else, and I think that anyone from Mitchell's better than Bam Adebayo, he's better than Trae Young, he's better than Tyrese Maxey, he's better than Paolo Banchero, and he's also better than Jaylen Brown. So the fact that he's like the best player between any of those teams that are just ahead of them is like a reason to believe in that. But as far as it goes, they've been playing as a team. There's not much reason to believe that the Cavs are going to turn it around soon, but I hope they do, because let's be honest, they're also my second favorite team outside the Celtics. So that's a big reason why as well. Then we go to the West, where it's not as big of a bloodbath in the East. Like obviously they're much better, but it's still not. It's still kind of spread out. So the Thunder are currently sitting at 24-2. The Nuggets are 4.5 games behind the Nuggets. The Lakers are a game behind the Nuggets are 4.5 games behind the Thunder. The Lakers and the Spurs, both tied for 3 and 4, are 1 game behind the Nuggets. This was all with Wemby missing a good month. So shout out to De'Aaron Fox and everyone else for keeping things afloat for sure. Rockets are a game behind the Spurs and the Lakers. That all came from an overtime loss to the Nuggets though, and they've had a couple of heartbreakers. So Obviously, yeah, the clutch time minutes have been kind of brutal on them. But who knows? Maybe they can turn around there. The Timberwolves are the 6th seed, a game behind the Rockets, and then there's a dip. That's when there's like the second tier. So I think the Thunder are on their own tier. Then I know that there's 3 games between the Nuggets and the Timberwolves, but I still think that I would still consider that them like in the same tier, 2 to 6. So I think the Thunder are a tier of their own. Then I think 2 through 6. Then I think there's a tier below. The Suns are the 7th seed, with the game and a half out of the Warriors. But let's be honest, I don't think they're going far at all. Like I would definitely take the Warriors above them in either a playing game or a playoff series. They probably wouldn't play each other in a playoff series, but definitely in a playing game, I take the Warriors over them. So, and then after that, the Grizzlies 13 and 14, Jazz 10 and 15, Blazers 10 and 16, Mavericks 10 and 17. I thought they turned it around, but what are they? 5 and 5 and less 10. That's kind of good. But rumors are they're trying to trade AD, which I think is an awful idea. But who knows? Kings 6 and 20, Clippers 6 and 20, Pelicans 5 and 22. Which by the way, the Pelicans, the Clippers, the Kings, and the Wizards and the Pacers, all 5 of them, they're not winning the title this year. Now, I know they might seem obvious, but I just want to lay out the facts. The Pacers, the Wizards, the Pelicans, Clippers, and Kings, all of them lost 20 games. And they are not even close to winning 40 games. So mathematically speaking, as of today, they're not going to win the finals. It's a bold opinion for sure. Kidding, not bold at all. But I'm telling you right now, the facts. If history tells us anything, it tells us that if you lose your 20th game before winning your 40th game, you're not winning the finals. And we're already at those 5 teams. They're already out of it. So sorry, Kawhi Leonard. Sorry, Zion Williamson. Sorry, whoever the best player in the Kings is. Domantas Sabonis. Sorry, Pascal Siakam. And apologies to, is Alex Sarr the best player in the Wizards now? Probably. Or is it someone else? Is it one of the old guys? But I don't know. But who knows? But all in all, I'm definitely very happy with the way that things are going so far as a Celtics fan. But who knows what's going to happen for the rest of the season. But I don't know what I'm going to do. Yeah, that's our show pretty much. But I'm not sure what my plan is as of now for next week. Today's the 18th, 1 week from today's Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone. I don't know if I'm going to do the show the day after, on the 26th, or if I'm going to do it early next week. I don't know. But if I don't see you, if I don't see you guys before then, like if I do the show later in the week, I just want to let you know, Merry Christmas. Hope you guys all spend time hope you spend all the time with your families. And yeah, like okay, I kind of drawing there, but yeah, Merry Christmas everyone. Also, Happy Hanukkah to everyone celebrating now. And yeah, I hope everyone's enjoying the holiday season, because obviously, yeah, life can be hard sometimes, but I hope that everyone is at least taking time to sit back, appreciate what they have, and I just hope that everyone is doing their best. But all in all, make sure to follow me on all social media platforms. All American Hooper on TikTok and Instagram, at American Hooper on Twitter. Be sure to check me out on Wednesday nights. Probably not for the next couple weeks though, because we got next Wednesdays is Christmas Eve, and the week after that is New Year's Eve. So probably not until like January 6th or something like that. I think that's the next Wednesday. Hers is the 7th. I don't even know, but my math is off. But and unfortunately, sad news. Primetime Sports Talk will be closing after a little bit. So, but my writing career isn't over for sure. Isn't over. I'm still going to look into applying to other websites, or just make my own Substack or Patreon to see what else I can write. But definitely open to doing a lot more other things. So if anyone has any recommendations, definitely feel free to drop something down in the comments, or send me a DM on any of the websites that I have played out there. But all in all, this has been another episode of the All American News Podcast. I'm Chris Driscoll. Until next time, keep grinding and stay hoping. Merry Christmas, everyone.